Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/relationship advice. Really quickly, I'd like to address a small difference that I'm trying to make to these videos. I recently was playing some Among Us online, and I thought while I'm talking and giving my thoughts, etc., I might put some of that gameplay up there for you, for those of you who like to see something moving on the screen. So I'm gonna do that for a few videos, and I'm very interested in what you all think, if you like that idea or if you'd rather me not. My boyfriend threw away my ex-fiance's last gift to me and is upset that I asked him to get rid of his ex's things in return. Recently, I went through some old boxes from my last apartment. When I did, I found my old jewelry box. Inside, I found a necklace that my ex-fiance gave me before he died, along with some ultrasound pictures of our baby. He also passed away. I put them up again for safekeeping. I was not feeling great for the rest of that day, and I was in bed for most of it. My boyfriend came home from work and was concerned. I explained what I had found, he comforted me, and I went to bed. While I was sleeping, he took them out of the spot I'd put them in and hid them. He told me in the morning that he'd thrown them away. I was crushed, crying, screaming at him. He calmed me down and told me it wasn't healthy to keep those things, that I needed to let both of those people go because they weren't coming back. I ignored him until he went to work, sent him a text while he was there. I asked him to get rid of his ex-girlfriend's old stuff since I was tired of seeing it around the house and that it wasn't healthy. He didn't answer and I fell asleep. I woke up to him screaming at me. He screamed for a while and wouldn't let me out of the room until he spoke his piece. The gist of it was that my relationship with my ex was different to his relationship with his ex, and I was unfair to ask him to get rid of something that was important to him, that I had kept my things in a box that hadn't been opened in a year. I clearly didn't care about them that much. I told him that was a stupid argument, that he needed to either find what he had thrown out of mine or get rid of all his ex's things, as I was tired of having to trip over her things just to move around the gosh dang house. He stormed out, rummaged around in the living room, and brought the ultrasound pictures back. I asked where the necklace was, and he told me he kept the pictures but didn't want a reminder that I had loved another man in his house. I shut the door in his face, and we haven't spoken much since. I've talked to a friend about this and was told I am 100% in the wrong, especially for asking him to do that. I really just want to know if I am. I feel bad about what was said, but I feel like a piece of my heart was ripped out when he threw that necklace away. Am I actually terrible for being upset? I just want someone unbiased to tell me how I could fix this. Edit, I just realized I missed this. His ex is still alive. When they broke up, she moved states and didn't want to take the things he still has with her. I assume that's why he said the relationship is different, but I don't know. Wow, your boyfriend sounds like a piece of trash. That's just me. No, that is not. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, your guys' relationships with your exes are not the same, but not in his favor in this situation. Just because he's like, oh my, that makes me so mad. Your fiance died. Like, you love that person and you guys aren't separated by choice. Like, it's because he died. Like, that's someone you have every right to still have something from because you loved them and they are gone, not because you guys didn't work out. Like, how can you be jealous of that? Like, I don't understand. And then, like, why would he be mad that you want his ex's stuff out when they just literally, like, they parted ways, like, because it wasn't working out? She's still alive. No, absolutely not. And that makes me think that he is a jealous kind of person, and also kind of that there's something up, because, like, why would he be so attached to his living girlfriend's old items but yet want to tell you to throw away things from your dead fiance and child? Like, are you kidding me? No, I don't like that guy. Like, I would throw him out personally just over that, because that's just trashy. I'm sorry, that's just showing your butt for sure. After giving birth, I found out that my husband doesn't care about me. What should I do? I used to love my husband, and I think I still do. My husband verbally said he loves me too, but I can't feel his love at all. I tried to communicate with him several times, but we ended up fighting. I don't know what else to do to make him understand my feelings and how to make him love me as much as I want him to. Our marriage started to break apart since I gave birth about a year ago. Before that, we were just an ordinary couple. Dated for 2 years, got married. We both wanted a child, so not long after we got married, I was pregnant and gave birth to a beautiful baby. I went through things most first-time mothers go through: breastfeeding pain, very bad mastitis, lack of sleep, anxiety from dealing with all problems related to parenting. In addition, I had to cook for my husband, who absolutely can't give me a hand in babysitting because he had to work full-time. The only time I got to rest was when I made dinner, during which he watched our baby so I can cook. What's more heartbreaking is that I realized that my husband doesn't love and care about me as much as I expected him to. For example, when I was having really bad abdominal pain after giving birth, my husband didn't show any care or offer any help. He continued shopping in the mall. I slowly moved myself back to my car. 200-meter distance felt like 200 kilometers to me. I felt like my guts were falling out of me and I might die. Another time, I got very bad mastitis. My breast was swollen with severe pain that I had to go to the ER immediately. There was a snowstorm that night. My husband told me to wait for him to finish his dinner. I assumed that he would drive me to the hospital after his dinner, so I waited, although every single minute I waited was torture. I waited half an hour for him to finish his meal, and he told me he's not driving me to the hospital. He asked me to wait because he needed to eat so he has the strength to shovel the snow for the car to get out. Eventually, I held my burning breast, drove in the snowstorm to the hospital. I spent 4 hours in the ER. I didn't want to make a scene, but I felt so heartbroken and helpless. I just can't stop the tears. After I got out of the hospital, I had to sweep off the snow on my car with my arms. I left home in a hurry, was only wearing a thin hoodie, and didn't check if there's a brush in the car. Throughout the entire time at the ER, my husband didn't even bother to send me a text to see if I was okay. There are so many incidents like this. It would take me days to list all of them out. Oh, and my husband totally forgot my first Mother's Day, although his mother reminded him a week before. Things started to bottle up to a point where I became extremely sensitive. Details that I couldn't care less before now seemed to be such a big deal. I constantly look for evidence to prove that my husband loves me, but the more I look, the more disappointed I am. I talked to my husband about these things that bother me and specifically told him what he can do to improve our relationship. He apologized and said he will try to do a better job. In fact, he never improved. Those bad memories are just like a spell on me. I try not to think about them, but a lot of things in life can bring them back and make me sad and angry, especially when we have conflicts. I can't help bringing back things in the past and accuse him for not supporting me during the most difficult times of my life. We fight all the time. He gets tired that we are always fighting about the same issue. I probably have postpartum depression. I'm not sure anymore. I used to be depressed and sad, but now I'm more angry. I told him his support would help me manage my emotions. Some kind words, a hug, a kiss from him would be the best cure to my anger. But he just keeps arguing and making things worse for me. He told me I need to grow up so I can rely less on him. Seriously? I never relied on him. I would like to, but at the end of the day, all I have is myself. I have to pick myself up and continue to fulfill my duty as a mother. I admit I have anger issues. I'm sensitive. But just a little bit of care and love from my husband would do me a big favor. Like, sometimes I get mad and stressed at my baby. The little boy senses my emotion and gives me a hug. It warms my heart and makes all the bad mood go away. I want to know if it's me who's causing all the conflicts in my marriage. What can I do to make things better? I really need help. Why do I feel like we are on the crappy dude Olympics today? Oh my god. Okay. I can understand that postpartum depression, which immediately when I started reading this, I was like, I wonder if that's definitely at play here. I also agree with OP that it is very likely. that can obviously alter your perception, right? Maybe you feel like you're not as loved, etc. But you have specific examples that are concerning. If someone says they need to go to the ER immediately, at the very least, you would stop eating and shovel the snow. At the very least. Even if you weren't taking them and you made them drive themselves, at the very least you would at least stop eating and go do that. Why are you making your wife, who is in pain so much that she says she needs to go to the ER, wait 30 minutes for you to freaking eat your food? Are you kidding me? I would hope that you go seek some kind of professional help when it comes to some of the issues regarding postpartum depression. You definitely have a right to seek help and support for that. And I'm so sorry that your husband is basically a garbage can and for some reason can't fathom actually caring about you. Like, that really hurts me, and I'm just reading this. I can imagine what it feels like to be you. I am so sorry. I hope that he changes, but like, the fact that like you specifically told him how he can help and he just won't do it. Like, the reason you guys are arguing about the same thing over and over is because he's not doing anything about it. Like, you can't, like, the issue didn't just go away because he said, okay, I'll try, and didn't try. I don't know. I mean, you could seek marriage counseling or whatever if you want. Go divorce him or whatever. Like, then you by yourself going through a lot would be a single mom, and like, that's a lot. I don't know. That's obviously a lot of things you have to decide for yourself, but at least seek help from an outside source, a professional who can help you put these things into perspective and also support you with the postpartum depression and hopefully give you some perspective on your relationship and maybe next steps that you can take if your husband continues to be an absolute garbage can. So I've been dating my girlfriend for 4 years now. We met in college, almost 6,000 miles from our hometown, where I found out we live 10 minutes away from each other. As dating is a big no-no where I come from, my parents have no idea. A week ago, I brought her up to my parents and mentioned that I'm interested in marrying her. They asked the usual questions, everything seemed to be going fine, but then they said no. When I asked why, they said she's not within our socio-economic level. A little arguing later, they started saying things such as, she's poor, her family doesn't suit ours, and a bunch of other BS relating to that. Yesterday, as I was preparing to go to work, Mom mentions that she found a girl that suits you. Turns out that girl is her friend's daughter who I've talked to once before and immediately hated her guts. She's the most entitled, narcissistic bee I have ever seen. Mom, on the other hand, loves her and more importantly thinks that our families are very suitable. I scoffed at the idea and left for work. When I came back, Mom and Dad were waiting for me. They said, marriage is more than just the both of you. It's also about the two families. Our family cannot be associated with hers, as it is not within our economic level. My parents are now taking this personally. They got the entire family involved, all of which support my parents. I don't know what to do. Marriage here is different than what you might be used to. Simple blessings aren't enough. Usually, the groom's parents meet the brides at her house to ask for her hand in marriage. This, along with other reasons, make it impossible for me to marry her without my parents' approval. I did not tell my girlfriend any of this, as it will absolutely destroy her. What do I do? Yeah, questions like these are really difficult when it comes to different cultures, because as OP said, like this this is a totally different culture where if you're going to ask someone to marry you, literally your families are super involved. And obviously you don't want to marry the person that they want you to marry. So I guess the thing is, like, if you really, really love her, at some point, I imagine you're gonna have to have the conversation of doing things out of tradition, which might be a no-go for her. I don't know. Like, I don't know how important that is to her and to you. I don't know what that does to you all socially. I don't know how, like, that could affect relationship. You know, I don't know those things because I'm not part of your culture. But I don't know, I couldn't I don't come from your culture, and I just couldn't imagine being set up with someone I hate over the person that I love just because they're not like rich or not like at the same socioeconomic level. Like, that's just not something I can comprehend. So I don't know, like it's up to you, like what your values are. Can you handle your family being super unhappy with you? Can you handle trying to do a marriage outside of your normal traditions in your culture? Unfortunately, that's something only you can answer. Me, as a random person on the internet, I would support you should you go after, pursue your girlfriend despite your culture's traditions. But, it's obviously your choice, and I hope whatever happens that you are happy and your girlfriend is happy, etc. My 36 male husband, 37 male, thinks everyone likes me more, including our therapist, and I'm beginning to think he is right. Quick background. My husband, let's call him Dave, and I met 9 years ago. We fell pretty hard for each other and got married after 2 years. Like all relationships, we've had our ups and downs, but overall I feel like our relationship is strong. We've started arguing a lot during COVID, mostly because we both work from home, live in a tiny apartment, and are not doing well mental health-wise. We therefore started seeing a couples therapist recently and had 7 sessions so far. Here's the issue. Dave has pretty severe social anxiety and is often convinced people don't like him. I think this is partially rooted in his experiences with his family, who reacted very negatively to him coming out, but have accepted him now. Anyway, he is often convinced that certain people don't like him or like me more than him. For example, he is convinced that his family dislikes him and likes me more than him, that our friends are mostly my friends and just tolerate him, and that our colleagues, we work for the same company, like me more. He gets very upset when I'm invited to an after-work drinks thing or to lunch, even if he just wasn't around at the time, and so it's not at all a reflection of them liking me more. He also gets upset when a mutual friend messages me privately instead of in the group chat, even when it's about something he has no interest in. For example, a movie the friend and I like, but that my partner hasn't seen. Whenever this happens, I try to reassure him and say things like, well, colleague X probably just invited me because she walked past my desk and saw me. You're on the other side of the building, so she probably just didn't think about it, etc. I never feel like this helps much, but I try anyway. Most recently, he got upset after a therapy session because he feels like the therapist likes me more and always sides with me. Now, the therapist doesn't really take sides, but I can see what he means. When there is some ambiguity in what we say, she will often interpret it in a way that is more supportive of me and suggest that he needs to work on certain things. She will also more often say more positive things about me than him, but says positive affirming things about both of us. So when he became upset about this, I didn't really know what to say because I actually agree that it seems like she likes me more. I avoided the issue by suggesting we try a different therapist, but he doesn't want that because it's hard to find an LGBT-friendly one where we live, and we already spent a lot of money on the sessions as well. Anyway, this made me think about this issue more broadly, and I think over time I've realized that it isn't just his insecurity. Some of this is based in reality. I have no idea why, but his family is kind of cold to him, but they're super nice to me, and I get along with all of them amazingly, including his 2 sisters who he used to be close with, but no longer is. I do get invited to more stuff at work, or did when we still went to the office, and I don't think it's just a reflection of coincidence. I think I am more popular for whatever reason. I'm not saying this to brag or anything, but I generally just have an easy time connecting with people and making friends. He isn't unpopular, and he has some very close friends from his childhood and college, but I think his concerns are to some extent a reflection of reality. How do I deal with this? How do I reassure him without lying, or worse, making him think he's crazy because he's imagining these things? I want to be supportive, but I don't know how. Some additional info: he has done years and years of individual therapy. He's doing much better than he used to, but this is still an issue. Well, dang. As someone who is not super socially adept, I know, shocker, random person on the internet isn't good at socialization, I Because if my insecurities were like verified, like my deepest fears that people just secretly don't really want to talk to me, and don't really ever want to actually be talking to me, they want to be talking to someone else, and I'm just the substitute, and whenever the better person comes by, they want to talk to them. Like if that gets verified, that just kind of like deepens the issue for me, and it has before, and it really messes with your head. However, it's I like you said, like, you don't want to gaslight him because you're starting to see what he's saying. So I think this is also in part being able to come to terms with some people are better socially than others, and that doesn't mean that you're more or less. I think there has to be a moment where he understands, like, hey, socialization doesn't come to me naturally. I don't know what everyone's problem is. Some people don't even have a problem. Some people might be put off because when you put out there, you know, when you're basically putting out the vibes or whatever, that no one wants to talk to you and no one likes you, it becomes really hard to talk to you. But you aren't easy to talk to means that they're going to talk to someone who's more charismatic, right? So I don't know that that's like the thing you want to say, right? Because like I wouldn't be okay with someone being like, well, it's your fault that people don't like you as much as me. But God, I don't know. I think just like being able to come to terms with like, hey, like some people are really gifted with social things and some people are gifted with other things that aren't super social, and that's okay. Like when they come to invite me to go do things, they assume that you're gonna come along too because we're partners. Like obviously when they ask me, they're asking you too. Like they just found it easier to talk to me because that's just like how people are sometimes, but that doesn't mean they don't like you. That just means that they just found it easier to approach me. But that's, you know, that's just how people are socially sometimes. There's no way of winning when this is such a big insecurity for someone because they're going to keep bringing it up, and that's what it kind of sounds like. It kind of sucks that his family's like that. I don't know I don't know how to deal with that one, but that's my best jab at it. I would love to hear people's thoughts on this in the comments below because how would you deal with this? Like honestly, how would you deal with this if your partner was saying this all the time and you're realizing they're kind of onto something, that this is kind of happening? What would you say? Anyway, that's going to wrap up today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I apologize for going MIA again. I will try to keep at it. Also, hello to a few new subs that came by. I don't know why, but one of my videos started getting suggested to some of you all. So if you are new here, hello, welcome. If you all enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Really quickly, I'd like to thank my patrons. Up on the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy case. Thank you all so much for supporting me in the way that you do. If you're interested in becoming a patron, checking out the original posts from this video, or sending me an email for possible inclusion in a future video, all of that information is in the description box, so be sure to check it out. And I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!